Well, greetings everyone, and welcome to another edition of Movie Goodness, where we examine life through cinema. I am the host, Kevin Reed, and this show is presented by the KB Radio Network. How is everybody doing out there today? I will get hiccups as soon as I start the show, but that's okay. We good. We soldiering on. Yes, how is everybody doing? I hope everybody is doing fine. Recovering from this last week of Slapgate concerning Will Smith and Chris Rock and Jada Pinkett Smith and all that foolishness. That's it, man. I'm done with it. I'm tapping out. I'm not discussing that no more. I discussed it on the Can't Wait Wednesday, where I gave my thoughts, and that was it. I'm done with it. To the point where I almost people was gonna dedicate this show to Will Smith. We was gonna have a Will Smith centric show surrounding his idiotic decision at the Academy Awards, but I said, you know what? I'm not gonna give it that energy. I regret giving it this much energy, but it is what it is. I went with my initial plan, and my initial plan today, we're going to discuss a film that helped shape my childhood. We're going to discuss a film that was one of the best 90s sports films, if not sports films overall, that really is one of the best, man. I honestly love this movie to its core. And it just so happened a few days ago, on March the 27th, it marked the 30th anniversary of its release. And so today, we're going to discuss the 90s classic basketball comedy film, White Men Can't Jump. But if it was to be released today, in this political and social climate, it would have been retitled Caucasian Cisgender Male Who Lacks the Ability to Leap. That would have been the name, because it wouldn't, they didn't want to offend anybody, because now everybody's so sensitive. Everything has to be labeled and the word is right there, and I can't even get it out. But you know what I'm trying to say. That everything it has to be so PC, So it wouldn't have been titled "White Men Can't Jump" if it had came out in 2022. But in 1992, "White Men Can't Jump" was released in theaters. 30 years. And before we get into the review, I just want to go through some revisionist history of around that time in my life, and why this film is considered one of my favorites. When I see it, I just light up, no matter when it is, or if I'm scanning the TV channels and it's on, I'm stopping and watching it. I'll even watch it on TBS or USA or something, even when it's heavily edited for television. I would still watch it because it's still funny. It still had a good plot. See, back in the 90s, even before the 90s, going when they actually made films. See, now they get movies. Back then, you got films. You got movies, and I just call it a movie. You get films that had a plot. They actually had plots. They actually had story. They actually had a beginning, middle, and end to a movie. And now everything it has to be a shared universe. It has to, set up a sequel or explain They spent half of the movie explaining something trivial that the audience can figure out for itself, but the filmmakers these days don't have faith in the audience, which is me and you, to sit down and figure it out. Back then, it was none of that. Just think back. Think back to the Silence of the Lambs, right? And this show has nothing to do with Silence of the Lambs, but I just want to use this as an example. Silence of the Lambs. It opened up, is a serial killer, whatever. Clarice is a FBI agent trying to find him. Decides to go question Hannibal Lecter, right? Hannibal Lecter is already locked up. He's locked up. Now, granted, this film is based on a book. There's a series of books. Now in the books, it explains why he's locked up, how he got caught, and all this here. It didn't explain that in The Silence of the Lambs. It just went on. And it was great. If Silence of the Lambs was to be made today, they would explain how Hannibal Lecter was captured. They would explain why Hannibal Lecter has this urge to eat people. It would explain all that. And it would take up an hour and 45 minutes of the movie to explain his backstory. Who cares? I just want to see this movie. And it worked. Now, that was in the 90s. And now, I'm saying this. White Men Can't Jump didn't have a complex plot like that. But it was just a story. And it flowed. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We're talking about the movie. We're going to get to the movie. We're going to get to our review of White Men Can't Jump. But first, let's go back. Let's go back to 1992. In the year 1992, matter of fact, like I said, it was released on March the 27th, 1992. That is 1 week after my birthday. So I had just made 13 years old. And I wanted to see this movie. And despite the fact that I just made 13, and in my mind I thought I was grown, the movie's R-rated, so I couldn't just go. So I had to get somebody to buy the tickets for me. I don't know who it was. It could have been my brother. I'm not sure. I'm guessing it was my brother, because I can't think of nobody else. Was he? No, it wasn't my brother, because my brother, he was in 92. I think he was in Saudi Arabia. He was in the military. And that was during Desert Storm and all that stuff. So I think he was across seas. And so, anywho's, that's besides the point. Anyway, I found a way to go see the movie. So I went to go see it. And I fell in love with this movie. I mean, from beginning to end. And the reason is, me growing up, I grew up in the suburbs. I had a friend, white guy. And we were pretty close. Not so much now. I rarely see him. But we've known each other since kindergarten, basically. Kindergarten or first grade. But we've known each other since then. And so, in fact, he stayed right around the corner from me. And close. Real close. And that's how our relationship was. Like Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson relationship, that's how we were. And but he wasn't as good as a basketball player. He wasn't that good. Nah, he could shoot. He had a shot. And that's how we could play basketball together, because he had a good shot. And that's how we treated the white athletes when we used to go around and playing different kids around the neighborhood and stuff like that. If we had to pick a white boy for our team, we picked him solely to be the shooter. We weren't expecting the white boy to be the facilitator or drive to the basket or play with his back to the backboard. No, you stay on the outside. if you're open, which 9 times out of 10 you will be, because nobody respects you enough to D you up or put the best defender on you. So we're gonna dish it out to you, and you just shoot the ball. And that's normally what we did. And yeah, that's why, because Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes, they previously were in Wildcats, which came out in the 80s sometime. I can't even remember when it was. But they have a working relationship. Matter of fact, they've appeared in, I believe, 4 films together. I think it was Wildcats, it was White Men Can't Jump, and I'm not going in a particular order. I'm just going when I can remember. It was White Men Can't Jump. It was Money Train and Play It to the Bone. There might be another one in there, but I don't think so. But I think it's just those 4. They just have a chemistry together, and it just radiates on screen, and especially in this film. Later on, as we got a little older, of course, get a little older, got a little separate, me and my friend. Kind of when I separated, we were still friends, but, he was hanging out with a certain crowd, I was hanging out with a certain crowd. Which happens. Anywho's, so I had a whole new group of friends. And, well, not new, because I've known them since first grade as well. But we hung out more, because now our interests are the same. Name number 1, females. And then after that, it was sports and everything else. But my friend, we at least this particular group, we were into basketball. Now, I would love to say, now it depends on who you ask on what day. I would love to say that I was an awesome athlete. Football was my first love, but I could play basketball too. The problem why I never played in high school or any other playground, legitimate playground, I'm 5 nothing. So I wasn't going to get on the court with these 5'10", 11, 6 feet, and above players. It can't happen. Now, my advantage was I can hang with them. I may have been short stature, but I can hang with them because I made up for it in my hustle. I made up for it in my fearlessness to get to the rim. Now, it cost me a lot. I got fouled the hardest. I got thrown down the hardest, but I had to keep pushing. Now, this isn't a self-gloss session of the show to show you how cold I was as a basketball player. But I just wanted to throw that out there. Now, we had a team. We actually had a team. We used to go around. Now, I don't know if everybody did this in their neighborhoods when they grew up or where they grew up at. I guess it depends on where you grew up at. We used to go around. Now, we didn't have basketball goals to practice on. I eventually got one when I was 16. My dad built a little half court in my backyard and got a basketball goal for me to practice on and play around with. It's still there. Shoot around on it every now and then now. But the thing was, we didn't have one then, and so in order for us to go practice, and we couldn't get into the gyms like talking about. I used to keep the gyms locked a lot of times, so we had to find basketball goals that were in people's driveways. So we'll go play on a certain person's driveway until it's time, until they come home and run us off from in front of their house, and so that's how we used to play. Or we will find somebody playing and we would challenge them to a game. And it was just like White Men Can't Jump, it was without the hustle, without the money being involved, And The bet I got, if memory serves, the bet was if we beat y'all, we can come play on this goal anytime we want to. So, we were rolling, man. We would we would have creme de la creme if you want to put it in that terms. I mean, we were beasts until we met this one team. We met this one team, and look, this is gonna come off as offensive, but I mean, it's the truth. We met this one team. It was a group of white boys, and we purposely went over there to beat them white boys up. Well, I mean, not beat them up, but beat them in the game. That was our objective. Like, look at them. I mean, one of them was shorter than me, and I'm like, no, man, we got this. I mean, because we've been tearing everybody behind up in the neighborhood. We got them, man. Dumb boys tore us up. I mean, ran us off. It was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. I'm not gonna say we looked past them or anything, but they were just good. They had to give them props. They were just good, and we went back. I mean, we treated it like it was real. It was like a Rocky montage. We went back and we were training, boy. I mean, we were doing sprints. We were doing layup drills. We were doing free throw drills. I mean, we went at it, bro, because we were determined to beat this team. And around the same time, they had a tournament that was announced that they was going to have a 3-on-3 tournament in the city, in New Orleans. I was like, man, we should enter that. We should enter that tournament just like in the movie. I'm like, bro, this plays out perfectly. We get together, but first we had to prove ourselves. First, we have to beat them boys. That's the only way. That's the only way we can prove it to ourselves that we're good enough to go to this tournament, because this was going to be surrounding areas. This was everybody was coming to this tournament. And so we felt collectively, if we could beat them, we could beat anybody. Because that's the one blemish on our record. And unfortunately, and it's been about 28 to 30 years since that happened. We have yet to have a rematch with those gentlemen. And it's one of the things that sticks in my craw to this day. You can tell it does because I'm still talking about it right now. Yes, it still bothers me to this day. We never went back and beat them boys, redeemed ourselves. Man, you want to talk about mad. I can't believe we lost to them guys. We underestimated. We really did. We underestimated them and got tore up. And we didn't go to the tournament, of course. We didn't get around to, I think we were late for the registration or something to that effect. I forgot what happened, but I know it was something we missed. I think we missed a deadline or something. And we didn't get that tournament. That tournament never came back around because we were like, all right, that's fine. We'll get them next year. But they never came back around. And we never seen them boys. Now, we went to school with them, but we didn't never got them together. Like, we'll see one playing, and we're like, where your friend at? We want a rematch or whatever. Could never get them together. I guess they rolled off they retired after that. That was that was their championship. That was their swan song. Beating the brakes off of us. I mean, they beat us. I can't even remember scoring in that game. It was that bad. It was really that bad. And I'm not saying because they, yeah, I am saying it because they were white. I knew we was gonna beat them. And I just knew we was gonna, man, they ran literally, they ran circles around us. Oh, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. And so I always thought back to White Men Can't Jump in that moment. How Woody Harrelson's character, how everybody underestimated him because he was a white boy, a big goofy looking white boy. So nobody really gave him any credence, any credit. Didn't think he was worth anything. He went out there and wiped the floor with everybody, including Wesley Snipes. To the point they hired a former college basketball player to do the training and whatnot. Or he could have been a coach. I don't remember. But he was doing training and counsel for him. And he flat out said that both of them could be Division II basketball players in college. But Willie Harrison was the better of all of them. Everybody on set. He said he was an awesome basketball player. For real. Like, what you saw in the movie was really Woody Harrison. He was doing his thing. As well as Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes wasn't no push-off, but Woody Harrison was the better out of the two. And so, yeah. But I learned a long, hard lesson that day that still sticks with me to this day. Never underestimate your opponent. And I've been living by that creed for 30 years. I never underestimate anybody. A little side note, and I could be wrong, but I don't think that I am. That same white boy, the short one, the one that I was guarding, or was attempting to, like I said, we went to school together. One day we was at school, and he was being bullied. And not bullied physically and all that, but bullied, like normal bullying that took place. And he got tired of it one day. Now, the dude that was bullying him was maybe a foot taller than him, maybe a foot bigger than him in circumference. He was a big dude. Just kept messing with this dude. Just kept messing with. I think his name is Kevin. I'm talking about the little short white boy. I think his name was Kevin too. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it was. Because I think I will remember that. One day, little Kevin had enough. He had enough. Old boy went to bullying him, messing with him, and all this here in class. I don't think he wasn't in a good mood because he kind of had his head down on the desk, And I think the dude kind of like popped him in the back of the head, messing with him. Little Kevin hopped up out that desk and just tore that boy up. And I was sitting there, while I'm sitting there watching him demolish this dude, had the boy calling for his mama. All I could think about was that basketball. Oh, yeah, he in trouble because he has a lot of energy. I know for a fact his stamina is on point. So this ain't gonna stop no time soon, dog. And so that's all I could think. And I started feeling bad for the bully because I knew this wasn't gonna stop. And it took about 3 or 4 people to pull him off him. I mean, he destroyed that dude. And it's safe to say, they never messed with that young man again. I don't think nobody messed with him again. I wonder what happened to old Kev. Now I think about it, that bully. I wonder what happened to him too. I've seen him recently, in fact. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know why I'm reminiscing about all this while I'm doing this show, but yeah, it's just popping in my head. We all talking people. That's the whole purpose of the show anyway. But yeah, that was a good time. I love that time. I love that little era when me and my friends, we used to go around and challenge people playing basketball. We thought we were the Bulls of the 90s, man, because one of my friends, he looked like Scottie Pippen. I mean, he really looked like Scottie Pippen. His cousin who rode with us, he was more of the hustle man. He was the I guess you could say Dennis Rodman of our team. And I ain't saying I was Jordan. I wasn't Jordan. My style was more of, I don't know how to describe my style. I was an improviser. I improvised on the fly. What got me into basketball was, what was it, 90? It was around that time, 91, 92. And I witnessed Michael Jordan in the finals when they won their first championship against the Lakers. And this was the shot that just blew my mind. And it was when Jordan went up with the right. And we got to the rim. Everybody know this shot. It's been shown, repeated, highlight reels all over. When he went from the right in mid-air, in the air, switched it, cocked it back, switched it with his left, and came back and kissed it off the rim. And I was mesmerized by that shot. I can't believe he did that. And the Lakers couldn't believe it, because it weren't like he switched it up to stop from being blocked, because they couldn't block his shot. He just did that because he could. And that's why I was just, from that moment on, it was Air Jordan. It was Air Jordan centric for me. Nothing else can compare. Nothing else can compare to that moment. And he will always be the GOAT in my eyes. I don't care what nobody say. He is the GOAT. So I used to practice that shot. And that's all I used to do. I used to try the reverses. And that's all just crazy shots. Get in the air and spin midair and shoot it off the glass. And that's all I was. I was trick shots. That's but they went in. They always went in. It wasn't like I was just throwing stuff up. I practiced this. I honestly practiced. That's all I used to do, because it was unstoppable. And I did that because I needed an advantage because of my height. I couldn't just shoot jumpers, because you don't even have to jump to block my shot. All you had to do is put your hand out and block my shot, because I'm shorter than everybody else. So I had to do something just off the wall to throw people off, to throw them off, to whereas they couldn't get my shot, because I did not want to get my shot blocked. I was terrified of that. Because when you get your shot blocked, you get ridiculed on the court. Y'all know, if you ever played basketball, pickup basketball game, it's a lot of trash talking. That's all. That's the whole point, really. That's all this. That's the whole point of playing pickup games, man. To talk trash and showboat. And I did not want to be the butt of nobody's jokes. And so that's how I earned my respect. And I never did. Now, I did get my shot blocked last time I played the game, and that was it for me. That's when I knew it was over for me. Of course, I was in my 20s. And we was at work, and we had got off of work, and the guys from work, they all wanted to play a game. And we used to do that every now and then. After work, we'll go play a game. And by then, I'm married, got a kid, got one on the way, and I'm like, well, let me go try to reclaim my youth. And went out there, and I did a nice crossover, people. It was the funkiest crossover you'll ever see. Old boy fell down and everything. And I was just strutting to the rim. And I did a little finger roll, little cute little finger roll that that almost got there. And all of a sudden, I hear somebody come from behind me, boom, and blocked my shot. I mean, he blocked it. It echoed through the whole gym. Everybody turned and looked, because you would think somebody got shot. How loud he came with that block. and I act like he fouled me. That didn't work because everybody just looked. When I said, "Man, he fouled," everybody just turned and looked, and I put my head down. I act like I twisted my ankle. I tried everything to play. I couldn't play it off, and it was in that moment I realized I've seen enough. I'm done enough. It's nothing else. I don't have it no more. I lost it. And that was the last pickup game I ever played. I played every night. No, I did. I think I did play in one after that, one or two after that. But whereas I took it seriously, that was the last one, and I realized that it's over. it's over for me, folks. No more hoop dreams for Kevin Reed. I'm gonna stay in my place. I'm gonna start a podcast, and so I did. It just took me 15 years to do it. But anyways, yeah, that's my little history of that era for me. One of my favorite eras of my life, my teenage years, of playing street ball, of playing pickup games. I have so many memories, so many fond memories around that time with my friends that none of which I'm super close with. We didn't fall out. It's just funny when you grow up, everybody go they separate ways. You know, everybody go their separate ways. It's to no fault to nobody else. It's just that's the way life is. It's funny how that goes. But I miss them guys. I really do. I wish we could. When we see each other, it's always man, we need to get together, man. It's been a while since we get together. And at the time, honestly, I think everybody is dead serious. Yeah, man, we're gonna get together, man. We need to catch up, go out for a drink or something. And yeah, man, just call me. Give each other's number, you know, because we're serious. We on Facebook. We all Facebook friends. We see what's all transpire. They might listen to the show. I don't know, but if you are, yeah, I miss you guys. But we still never get together because we all have lives. And I understand it. I'm praying that they understand that too. We all have lives. We all have responsibilities now. It ain't like it used to be. And so I get it. I'm not mad at them. Now, if we ever get together again, I'm going to enjoy it to death because we have so many good memories growing up with those pickup games, man. I really enjoyed it. I wish camera phones was out then around that time so we could have those memories, you know? Like now you take a picture of everything you do, but back then we didn't have that luxury, but it is what it is. So white men can't jump. And this was crazy because even as a 13-year-old boy, I thought that was a weird title for a film. I felt kind of offended by it. I was like, man, they went there with the with the white man can't jump. And it was, you know, because how often you see white boys in the NBA, you know, dunk a ball, slam dunk, glide over people. You see it now if you watch NBA with some of the white players, or even in other sports. You know, you don't see too many white players with leaping ability. When you do see it, it's astounding. You're in awe. You're like, wow, that boy got ups. You know. You know, it's like a unicorn, man. When you see it, it's like, wow. Yeah, so that's the crazy part, you know. The black players or other ethnic groups, oh yeah, man, they can jump, dribble the ball through their legs, and almost touch the top of the backboard and everything else. But our poor white brothers and sisters, they can't jump over. They can't jump over a curve. But regardless, that's the name of this film. Look, whatever. White Men Can't Jump, like I said before, came out in 1992. It is an American comedy sports film written and directed by Ron Sheldon. And Ron Sheldon is a very prominent filmmaker in Hollywood. At least he was. He hasn't made anything in a few years, but especially sports films, he's made classics. Bull Durham, Tin Cup, White Men Can't Jump, of course. He's also written a lot of good films. He wrote Bad Boys 2. Well, he's one of the writers on Bad Boys 2 and other works. He's had a storied career in sports films, and this was one of them that was kind of weird, but not weird. I mean, weird that he made, because, like I said, he made Bull Durham before this, I believe, and Bull Durham is a baseball film, and he used to be a baseball player. He's a former baseball player, and so for him to move over to a basketball film, I'm like, is he really going to capture the essence of street ball in the 90s? This white guy who used to play baseball. It just didn't get there with me, and that's me at 13. And so I'm like, I don't know. But, oh, Diddy. Boy, Diddy. The film stars Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson as streetball hustlers. The film was released in the United States March the 27th, 1992 by 20th Century Fox. The film also stars, aside from Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes, you had Rosie Perez, you had Tara Farrell, you have Kadeem Hardison, and many, many more. Wesley Snipes around this time, we were starting to get into the renaissance of Wesley. This is around Passenger 57 Wesley. This is around when he starts taking off with Demolition Man, and start this staple as a action hero, action movie star. And a few years after this, he just breaks through the stratosphere with Blade. And you knew early on that there was something about Wesley Snipes that he was different. He wasn't just this action star, or this comedy actor. He was actually an actor. He can bring so much to the table because he had done a lot of Spike Lee films up to this point. Mo Better Blues, Jungle Fever, and many more. Not to mention what, about 3 years prior to this, the classic New Jack City, when he portrayed Nino Brown. You knew this dude can do everything. He can do everything: a crime drama, a comedy, a sports film, an action film, and he's good in every single role. Bro, Wesley Snipes is a treasure. Wish he would have paid his taxes, but that's neither here nor there. But he was a treasure, a comic book superhero. I mean, he did it all. Around this time, he was trying to be Black Panther. He was trying to get Black Panther made around this time, but him and Marvel couldn't get it going, and that's how Blade came about. But we'll address that on another episode. But Woody Harrelson, around this time, we all know he was in Cheers, and he appeared in so many other movies, and the two of them teaming up again, with that chemistry they have. I'm just so impressed with their chemistry. They had that chemistry that you only saw in older films, like with Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder, or I ain't gonna say Albert and Costello, but Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. You know what I'm saying? Those type of relationships. And I'm not using them because they were white and blacks. It just so happened to be. It just so happened to come out that way. But they just have this chemistry, man. That is. It's amazing. It's like they truly are brothers, even though they played brothers in the Money Train. Adopted brothers, of course, but they played brother, and you believed it, bro. Their relationship in that film is so pure and so good, even though the movie wasn't all that. But their relationship in the film was good, and even here, when they were bitter rivals, they still had a certain thing that you just loved about them. You loved them both, even though they couldn't stand each other, but you couldn't hate. You know what I'm saying? I just loved it. Rosie Perez, I've seen her in things before this. She was in Do the Right Thing with Spike Lee. I think that was her first film. But in this film, she really brought the thunder. She really showed that she can lead films and be a prominent actress in Hollywood, and she has been since this. Still working today, still bringing some awesome performances to the screen. She's even been Academy Award nominated since that. Awesome, man. The movie's just funny. You want to talk about funny? It's still, some jokes still crack me up to this day. They, with Kadeem Hardison and the back and forth with him and Woody Harrelson's character and him and Wesley Snipes getting into it, and I just loved it. Loved the basketball in it. I love this because, like I said before, you watch films back then and now, and you really start to dislike movies now that are made today. And let me explain why. Movies made today rely so heavily on CG. Certain scenes in this movie, they would have computer-generated images in, like the basketball, dunking the ball, or digitally adding in the basketball when they shoot a long three-pointer, or, that hook shot that Woody Harrelson made from half court. He actually made that shot. Now, it took a few takes, but he made that shot. If they was making it today, they would have just computer generated the ball, and he would have just did the motion with the hook, and voila, movie magic. But they actually did it back then, and in a lot of movies, action movies and stuff like that, they actually did the stunts and all this other stuff, and you appreciate those films more. It looks better. It feels real, and the basketball scenes here feel real. The opening scene when Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson were playing the game where they were, was it horse or something like that, where whoever missed the shot or whatever the case may be, I forgot it now. Forgot that scene, or what was the stakes on that scene. And it was one take, one shot, and they'll shoot, talk, they say their lines, and the other one will walk up, dribble, shoot, walk up, say their lines, and they'll just shoot the ball. They didn't miss. They actually had to do that. Because if somebody missed, they got to start that scene all over again. You appreciated that. You appreciate the game. It looked like they were actually playing the game. The hard fouls that that was given to them, they looked like this was all real. I loved that about it. I loved everything about it. The only hiccup I ever had about the gameplay was the actual dunk at the end with Woody Harrelson actually dunked the ball. You could tell that was not a a 10-foot rim that he dunked on. He barely jumped, but he got up there and dunked it. And I to this day, if I watch it right now, it bugs me. It bugged me then, and it bugged me now. Because the way the shot is set up, he's running to catch the alley-oop, and they show this all in the frame. The frame that's, him running, his feet leave the ground, and he may jump 2 feet off the ground. And he jumps, he catches the alley-oop and dunks it. As a matter of fact, I believe that I think it was an 8-foot rim that he dunked on. I read somewhere that he didn't do it on an actual 10-foot rim. But when Wesley Snipes dunked, or anybody else in the film dunked, it was a 10-foot rim. But he couldn't. Poor Woody Harrelson, he couldn't dunk it, which makes the title of this film pretty accurate. But but no, I can't dunk a 10-foot rim. But hey, I'm not a professional basketball player. But in any event, that was the only little movie magic that they did in the film. But you can see it, and I noticed it. And if you haven't noticed it and you watch it again, now you can't help but notice it. You're welcome. But besides that, I love the film. I actually love this film. This is one of the pieces. It is not nostalgia. It's just, I love this film. I love the story. I love the acting. Everything about it. Everything about it, perfectly done. Now, some parts of this film is dated. It is kind of dated. You can tell this movie is 30 years old in certain parts. Not the whole film. It holds up as a whole. It holds up as a whole. It still fits. But it's certain scenes, certain parts where you look at it and you're like, yeah, that is 90s, man. Now, especially the clothes, of course. In the 90s, everything was cross colors and neon colors, and there was no matching. And I sit back and I wonder, what were we thinking in the 90s? What was the mindset there with the colors, man? I saw an old picture of I took in high school. It looked like I had every color of the rainbow on. Everything was bright. It was all about bright colors in the 90s. I'm like, man, we were repping pride before pride. We were just repping colors all over the and we thought we looked good. At least I thought I did. I thought I looked good. No, I had to quickly get rid of that picture, even though there are 1,000,001 more of them scattered around my mom's house somewhere. But you can look at that film and you can see that it is a 90s movie. But overall, it still holds up to this day. I love White Men Can't Jump. And White Men Can't Jumps. White Men Can't Jump gets a grade of an A-. Classic film. Classic 90s film. And it's fitting. It's Final Four is going on right now. Basketball, about to get into the playoffs. Hey, let's go, man. Let's hoop it up. Let's hoop it up. So, it felt good. It felt good, this show, to go back in time and relive my childhood. And it reminds me that my childhood was not traumatic. I actually had a good childhood. I enjoyed it. I did. I had some fun back in the day. And that was one of the fun times of my life. I really do miss it. I really do miss hanging out with them guys, going play basketball. Because honestly, I don't think I'm really driving this home. We really thought we were NBA quality players. We really did. And we were good. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not being biased or nothing. We really were good. But we weren't good enough to beat the White Boys that day. They just got lucky. They just got us that day. Man, I wish we could go back and play that game. But anyways, everybody, that's my review of White Man Can't Jump. 30 years old. Not today, but 30 years excuse me, 30 years old this year. Wow, man, 30 years. I remember when it came out. I guess I'm there now. I guess I'm to that age. Wow. But anybody, how y'all feel about White Man Can't Jump? How do you remember White Man Can't Jump? It's currently on Hulu. So if you want to check it out, if you haven't checked it out in a while, or you haven't seen it at all, and I spoiled that Billy Hope dunks the ball at the end, I apologize, but it's 30 years old, people. The movie is 30 years old. But if you want to catch up on it, haven't seen it in a while, it's currently on Hulu if you have Hulu. Everybody, if you want to contact the show, you can always email us at kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can look us up on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, TikTok, wherever. KB Radio Network. If you're listening on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, don't forget to leave those 5-star reviews and ratings. If you're listening on Spotify, don't forget to follow the show. Don't forget to leave the ratings there as well. And on all listening platforms where the KB Radio Network is available, which is all of them, you can check us out there as well. It has been an honor, privilege, and joy to speak to y'all today. I had fun today. Today was a fun episode. Man, White Man Can't Jump. I might go check that out. I might go back and watch that on Hulu. I love that movie. I really do. And hey, we got some basketball. You know, we have, like I said before, we have the Final Four. If you're a basketball head, we got the Final Four this weekend. It's right here in New Orleans, in fact. They're going to play. And I think the first game is Duke in North Carolina. That big rivalry. I think this is the first time they're meeting in the Final Four, if I'm not mistaken. Or it could be the first time in a while that they're meeting in the Final Four. And Coach K, his swan song, coincidentally, nothing staged here. But yeah, they're meeting in the Final Four, so that's a big game, I think, this weekend. We have the final week of the regular season in the NBA. A tight race for the play-in game. I think the New Orleans Pelicans are in the mix there. So it's a lot to cheer on for basketball this weekend. And you have White Man Can't Jump on Hulu. You can check out and celebrate its 30th year anniversary. Everybody, I want you all to know I love you. Continue to love one another. I'm talking to you, Will Smith. And till we speak again, I want you all to be blessed.